Prince William has finally snapped. Enough is enough. He has told friends he will strip Meghan Markle of the HRH title.
What if the royal family's most rebellious couple just got checkmated by the very system they tried to outsmart? King Charles is turning a blind eye, but Prince William will not, because right now, something historic is brewing in London, something so unprecedented that even Buckingham Palace is holding its breath. For years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have treated royal duty like a Netflix plot twist, dramatic when it sells and forgotten when it does not. They traded tiaras for talk shows, tradition for Hollywood glitz, and loyalty for production deals. But it seems the spotlight they fought for has finally turned into a burning interrogation lamp. According to insiders, the UK Parliament is not just gossiping about the Sussexes anymore, it is moving. Real lawmakers, real legislation, and a very real threat to erase the royal titles that keep the Duke and Duchess brand alive. And the irony is that this time, it is not the crown coming for them, it is democracy itself. For a couple who once said they wanted freedom, this might be the most expensive taste of it yet. No palace perks, no royal protection, no, Your Grace. Just two former royals with a California zip code and a fading claim to royalty. But here is where it gets brutal, because this is not just revenge from the throne. This is Parliament stepping in to do what King Charles would not, draw a line. And once that line is crossed, there is no coming back. Because the question now is not will they lose their titles, it is when. Before we dive into this unprecedented move and what it means for Harry and Meghan, it would mean the world to us at the Ruby Report if you'd hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. We are dedicated to digging deeper than the headlines, and you will not want to miss where this story goes. If you are already hooked, smash that like button. It really helps us out. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the most powerful monarchy on earth just got outplayed by its own parliament. That is exactly what is happening right now in Britain. A quiet storm is gathering under Westminster's grand ceilings, where lawmakers are reportedly preparing to do the unthinkable, strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal titles. And the best part is that they might not even need the king's permission to do it. For centuries, Parliament never dared to touch royal privilege. It was sacred, untouchable, and beyond politics. But now, the patience of the establishment has snapped like a brittle teacup in a royal scandal. What began as whispers in back corridors has become an open conversation. If you use your titles for profit while trashing the very institution they come from, why should you get to keep them? And that is the real twist. This is not palace drama or family squabbles anymore. This is constitutional vengeance dressed in legal procedure. A growing faction of members of Parliament is pushing a reform bill that could finally separate royal titles from those who treat them like brand merchandise. To them, the monarchy's survival depends on drawing a firm line, and Harry and Meghan are standing right on it. Behind the polished speeches and respectful deliberations, one question echoes across Parliament's halls. If two people can turn a royal legacy into celebrity currency, then what does royal even mean anymore? But what is even more shocking is who inside the palace quietly supports this political uprising and how deep their fingerprints go. The road to this political showdown did not appear overnight. It has been paved by four chaotic, headline, chasing years that even Hollywood could not script. What began as a royal love story quickly spiraled into a global soap opera. One explosive interview here, a tell-all memoir there, and suddenly the monarchy's family feuds were streaming in 4K. Every time the dust seemed to settle, Harry and Meghan found a new match to light. From accusing the palace of emotional neglect to publicly criticizing the very protocols that once gave them their power, their saga became less about enacting change and more about controlling the narrative. And while they claimed to be escaping royal suffocation, somehow, every new deal, documentary, and podcast circled right back to the family name they had supposedly left behind. Meanwhile, inside Westminster, patience turned into exhaustion. Lawmakers watched as centuries of royal dignity became late-night comedy material. The tipping point was not just scandal fatigue, it was a sense of national embarrassment. To many in the government, the monarchy is a core part of Britain's global identity, not a marketing slogan to be leveraged for personal gain. And the Sussex circus was making that identity look fragile and cheap. So when murmurs began about stripping their titles, it was not just about spite, it was about damage control. The public image of the crown had been stretched, mocked, and monetized, and Parliament decided that enough was enough. But while the politicians prepare their public move, there is one royal figure whose quiet involvement changes everything. While Parliament debates in public, the real chess game might be unfolding behind palace walls, and the quietest player on the board is said to be Prince William himself. Forget the calm smiles and the rehearsed royal charm. Insiders whisper that the future king has had enough. After years of headlines dragging the monarchy through the mud, William's patience reportedly cracked long before Parliament's did. Unlike his father, who still holds out hope for a family reconciliation, William is said to be running this situation like a military mission. He is building alliances not with royal courtiers, but with influential lawmakers who share one single goal: to protect the crown at any cost. And according to whispers in political circles, he has been far more influential in this process than anyone suspects. There have been quiet meetings by chance, off-the-record dinners, and a strategic public silence that speaks louder than any official statement ever could. To William, this is not about revenge, it is about restoration. Every time his brother goes public with another damaging revelation, the image of a steady, modernizing future king takes another hit. Behind that calm exterior, there is a cold calculation: remove the distractions, clean the slate, and rebuild the monarchy's credibility before he is the one who inherits it. But there is a darker undertone here, too. Some claim this campaign is also deeply personal. Years of perceived betrayal, private text messages exposed in books, and intimate family moments weaponized for profit, it all left deep scars. And this bill, it might be William's way of making sure that those scars never get to define his future reign. Because if Parliament moves forward with this, it will not just be a legal decision, it will be William's quiet, decisive victory. For Meghan Markle, this is not just a royal scandal, it is a full-blown brand crisis. Every magazine cover, every luxury partnership, and every media headline has revolved around one golden phrase: the Duchess of Sussex. It is not just a title, it is her trademark, her identity, and her global calling card. But now, that very title sits on a political chopping block, and the woman who once controlled every aspect of her narrative might finally be losing control. Sources close to her circle have described frantic panic meetings in Montecito, with legal advisors, brand consultants, and public relations strategists all scrambling to try and rewrite her future. Without Duchess, the elegant royal mystique that sold her image to streaming giants and global fashion houses begins to fade. She has built a billion-dollar persona around the illusion of modern royalty, relatable but regal, an outsider yet an insider. But if you take away the title, what is left? Just Meghan. And that does not sell in the same way. Behind the curated smiles and the motivational speeches, insiders whisper that the tension is boiling over. Deals that were tied to her royal identity may suddenly collapse. New ventures may lose their sparkle. Even her humanitarian brand, the one that was meant to transcend the monarchy, feels shaky without the royal gloss. To her critics, it is poetic justice. To her supporters, it is a witch hunt. But to Meghan herself, it is an existential threat. Because for the first time, her crown is not just slipping, it is being actively taken away. And the only person more desperate to stop it is her husband. Behind the polished public relations statements and the calm appearances, insiders say that Prince Harry is in quiet panic mode. The once rebellious royal who claimed to have found his freedom now faces the very real possibility of losing the one title that made him matter on the global stage. And according to multiple reports, he is not taking it well. Rumors are swirling that Harry has made a series of private, frantic calls, not through his aides or representatives, but personally, reaching out to old palace contacts and even trying to get urgent messages to his father. One insider described him as being emotionally cornered, realizing that without Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, his influence in Hollywood shrinks dramatically. The massive book sales, the high-profile interviews, the spotlight, They all dim when he is just another celebrity with some royal baggage. What is haunting him most, reportedly, is not the money or the fame, it is the symbolism. Losing the title means losing the last tangible link to his mother's legacy, to the institution she fought against, yet which defined his entire life. And for Harry, that is unbearable. Those close to him say he is torn between a deep anger and a profound guilt. Anger at being punished for speaking out, and guilt for possibly pushing things too far. But the desperate calls from California might be too late. Parliament is not the type of body to be swayed by emotional appeals. Because while Harry is begging for understanding, the lawmakers are preparing to make history. And the consequences will not stop with him, they could reach his children next. While Harry and Meghan fight to keep their own titles, an even more delicate question is unfolding in the halls of London. What happens to their children? Archie and Lilibet may be too young to understand royal politics, but their entire futures are now tangled up in it. If Parliament pushes through this reform, the little prince and princess could lose their status before they are even old enough to spell the word royal. Traditionally, titles are passed down by bloodline, considered unshakable and sacred. But this new proposal challenges that very foundation. Some lawmakers argue that royal privilege should only apply to those who actively serve the monarchy, not to those who simply profit from it. And with the Sussex family now firmly rooted in California, critics say the kids' royal standing has become merely symbolic, not earned. It is a heartbreaking irony. Harry once said he left the UK to protect his children from the immense pressures of royal life, yet now, that very same choice could end up erasing their royal heritage altogether. For Meghan, it is reportedly the most painful part of all. The idea that her children could grow up stripped of their birthright feels like the ultimate, final punishment. Behind the palace gates, even the more sympathetic royals are said to be uneasy. Stripping children of their titles crosses an invisible line, one that blurs the boundary between family and institution. But make no mistake, if Parliament follows through with this, Archie and Lilibet's names could vanish from the royal website overnight. And that is when this family drama officially turns into royal history. In the corridors of Westminster, the whispers have now turned into a concrete strategy. The phrase that is floating through government briefings is the one bill solution, a single, sweeping piece of legislation that could reset the monarchy's entire framework in one decisive strike. And at the very top of that bill's list of targets are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Unlike royal protocol, which moves at the slow, deliberate speed of tradition, this is politics, fast, ruthless, and irreversible once it is in motion. Insiders describe the bill as a kind of constitutional spring cleaning, designed to modernize royal privileges and, frankly, to remove the royal freeloaders. It would not just target Harry and Meghan, it could potentially reclassify multiple royals whose titles no longer align with active service or national representation. Supporters of the bill call it accountability, critics call it sacrilege. But to the lawmakers who are pushing it forward, this is about protecting the monarchy from itself, about proving that even royal blood is not above a sense of responsibility. What makes this moment so extraordinary is that the monarchy might not even have the power to stop it. Parliament could, for the first time in modern history, overrule any royal hesitation. And once that precedent is set, the entire definition of what royalty means changes forever. This is not just a bill, it is a powerful message that the monarchy serves the nation, not the other way around. And when you find out who is secretly championing this reform from the shadows, it becomes clear that this might already be a done deal. For King Charles, this moment is nothing short of torment. On one side stands the crown, an institution he has waited his entire life to lead, now facing its greatest image crisis in decades. On the other side stands his own son, the boy who once clung to him at Diana's funeral, now the man who is threatening to dismantle the family's legacy with every single interview and confession. The immense weight of that contradiction is breaking him from the inside out. Sources close to the palace describe a monarch who is torn between his personal emotion and his public obligation. Charles reportedly fears that taking a hard stance against his son will make him look heartless, the cold king punishing his own family. a narrative that the tabloids would absolutely devour. Yet, doing nothing at all risks letting Parliament define royal authority for the first time in modern history. And for a man who is obsessed with preserving the dignity of the monarchy, that is simply unthinkable. Behind the palace gates, the meetings are stretching late into the night. Advisors are urging caution, while others are pushing for decisive action. Charles is caught in a moral storm. Does he defend his family, or does he defend the throne? He knows that whichever path he chooses, someone will lose faith in him forever. And perhaps the cruelest truth of all is that this is not a battle he can actually win. Because whether Parliament acts or not, the monarchy's future and his relationship with Harry will never be the same. But as Charles hesitates, the machinery of reform keeps turning, and just like that, the story of Harry and Meghan may be closing its final royal chapter. From wedding bells and palace balconies to lawsuits and political bills, their journey has gone from a fairy tale to a cautionary tale. What began as a royal rebellion has now turned into a public reckoning. If Parliament follows through with this bill, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex could soon be titles of the past, archived, deleted, and replaced by a quiet line in the British history books. It is poetic, really. The couple who wanted their independence might soon get it in full, but not in the way they had ever imagined. They will have no more royal rank, no more shield of status, just two people facing the world without the protection of the institution they once rejected. And for the monarchy, this could be the very reset it has been waiting for. But this royal storm is not over because while Harry and Meghan are facing their downfall, another royal couple is now under fire. In our next deep dive, we will uncover the shocking reality behind Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson being stripped of everything. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. This is the Ruby Report, and I am building a new legacy of truth, intrigue, and untold royal drama. For even deeper, unfiltered coverage, join me on my new channel, Royal Spotlight, where the crown meets controversy and every secret finds its light. Hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and stay tuned, because the palace walls are always whispering.